From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
This is a process that has been fundamentally tainted.
If we don't have a system of checks and balances, we might as well all just elect a president and go home.
The House impeachment vote posing a greater threat to the Trump presidency. Find out how Arizona lawmakers are reacting.
Plus, how the University of Arizona is taking to the streets to help struggling communities meet their health care needs.
I finally got my turn. She stood in front of me and she said, "What do you see?"
And a look at the eye-opening technology that's changing the way people see the world.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening, I'm Christopher Lindsay.
And I'm Mackenzie Pavicic. Thank you for joining us. A divided House officially approved ground rules today for the impeachment inquiry of President Donald Trump.
And Arizona lawmakers were just as divided as the rest of the House, as Kaylee Broussard reports from our Washington bureau.
Republicans have complained for weeks that the House never officially voted to open an impeachment inquiry of President Donald Trump. Well, today they got that vote, but they were not happy.
If this is about transparency, then open it up. If you want the American people to see it, open it up.
Biggs was responding to the House resolution setting the ground rules for continuing the impeachment inquiry that began a month ago behind closed doors. The resolution passed 232 to 196 on a virtually party line vote. It's the first step toward an open hearing by the Judiciary Committee. But one member of that committee said the hearing should have been open from day one.
The solution right here is a scam. When the Democrats say that it's open and transparent, that is a bunch of hogwash. It is the total opposite.
Lesko said the resolution is little more than antics from the left.
It authorizes them to continue these closed-door, secret hearings where me, a member of the Judiciary Committee, can't even go in. I can't even get a copy of the testimony. I've asked. I've been rejected. This is just wrong. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the vote will allow for transparency and that it's the Republicans who are balking.
I don't know why the Republicans are afraid of the truth. Every member should support allowing the American people to hear the facts for themselves. That is really what this vote is about.
Today's vote followed 2 hours of heated debate, and it comes more than a month after Pelosi announced an impeachment inquiry into whether Trump sought political favors from the Ukrainian president in exchange for U.S. aid to that country. The White House has repeatedly rebuked the probe, calling the Democrats' efforts an unhinged obsession with an illegitimate impeachment proceeding. But most Democrats say that Congress needs to stand up for itself and that the investigation is long overdue into an administration they claim is marred by corruption. Arizona Congressman Raul Grijalva told Cronkite News today's vote establishes the rules of the public hearings that will expose Trump's cover-ups, corruption, and shakedowns. And Republicans will have to decide whether to defend a corrupt president or defend the Constitution they swore to uphold. The vote broke along party lines, with just 2 Democrats voting against the resolution and 1 independent voting for it. It was a straight party line vote for Arizona lawmakers. All 5 House Democrats were in favor, and all 4 Republicans were opposed. In Washington, Kaylee Broussard, Cronkite News.
Grassroots group is making moves to reform Arizona elections and restrict lobbying in the state. They kicked off a ballot initiative campaign yesterday. The Arizonans for Fair Elections measure would create an automatic voter registration system for Arizonans when they apply for or renew a driver's license. It also calls for restricting gifts that lobbyists and special interests can give to politicians and mandate the legislature to pay counties to boost election staffs. It would also mandate more polling places and election workers, as well as early voting at the polls on Election Day. The group needs to gather roughly 238,000 signatures by July to get it on the ballot for 2020.
The House last night approved a bill that would permanently ban mining, specifically uranium mining, on more than 1 million acres around the Grand Canyon. While the fight in the House may be over, the fight about the bill is far from over, as Heather Cumberledge reports from our Washington bureau.
The Grand Canyon Centennial Protection Act passed the House by a comfortable 236 to 185 margin last night. But by this morning, the road to final passage looked a lot rockier.
Nowhere. This bill's going nowhere. You know, this is something that the House has been trying to push. It's been the anti-campaign of the chairman trying to get rid of all mining.
The bill still has to get through the Senate. Then it would have to be signed by the president. But the White House said this week it would recommend a veto of such a bill. Supporters say the bill is worth fighting for.
There are some areas, like the Grand Canyon, like it or not, that have to be left alone.
That was echoed by Representative Tom O'Halloran, whose district includes part of the Grand Canyon.
This legislation does more than just preserve the canyon for the enjoyment of future generations. It protects our water supply, the health of Arizonans, and our state's tourism economy.
Grijalva says area tribes, including the Navajo and Hualapai, would face increased health and safety risks if mining continues. But Gosar accused Grijalva of using tribes in the canyon as a cover for his ultimate goal, to try and cripple America's mining industry.
What this really is a vehement grabbing of public lands. There's breccia pipes here, there's rare earths, there's all sorts of different minerals here.
It's because of that, Grijalva said, that mining companies have been given free rein for too long.
People have to look at the legacy here, and if mining should occur, and it should occur under 21st century criteria, public participation, transparency, and pay your way in terms of paying royalties like gas and oil pay.
While they disagree on the bill, all lawmakers agree that the canyon needs to be protected. 6 million people visit the Grand Canyon per year, adding more than $1 billion a year to the state's economy. That's why Representative Greg Stanton said he supported the bill.
It's good for the environment, it's good for the canyon itself, it's good for economic development.
In Washington, Heather Cumberledge, Cronkite News.
While the bill has a long way to go before it becomes law, the mining ban doesn't. The Obama administration imposed a ban on uranium mining in 2012 that is still in place today. If it is not overturned, the ban will be in effect until 2032. A temporary replacement for suspended county assessor Paul Peterson has been appointed. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors selected Bill Wiley to head the office after Peterson was charged with running a human smuggling scheme in which pregnant women from the Marshall Islands were brought to the U.S. and paid to give their children up for adoption. Wiley will be paid more than $72 per hour, which is nearly double what Peterson made.
When someone can't access basic medical care, what do you do? Well, you bring the medical care to them. Cronkite News reporter Scotty Gange went to Surprise and shows us how a group from the University of Arizona is doing just that. Scotty?
According to the Association of American Medical Colleges, Arizona ranks 44th in the country when it comes to total active primary care physicians. Now, that can make it difficult for many members of the community to see a doctor, but this initiative is now bringing them comprehensive care on wheels.
It's one of the best things we can do for each other.
Thank you both. Okay, how about you?
You as well.
Offer support.
Yes, I give you a hug because I'm a hugger.
Now, it's no new sentiment. But a crew led by Dr. Cecilia Rosales at the University of Arizona has found a new way to lend a hand.
1, 2, 3.
It takes a really special type of person with a special type of personality and lived experience to be able to provide the service. It's not just anybody can do it.
When we weigh them on the scale, do we ask them to take off their shoes?
It's a team full of individuals who volunteer their time to provide preventative health screenings inside Arizona communities.
Great. They'll ignore certain things just because they might not afford it. I mean, imagine having, do I put food on the table or do I go to the $75 appointment?
It's a population with limited access to primary care doctors.
But many times, and for most of the people that we interact with, they do not have insurance. They do not have a primary care provider. And it doesn't mean that they don't have access to care, they just don't know. Everybody has access to service, regardless of whether you have insurance or not.
Well, you know what? It's been forever since I've been in the hospital, so doctor.
The University of Arizona owns 2 of these mobile health units, with one station in Tucson and another in Phoenix. According to the U of A College of Public Health website, the units have delivered over 38,000 services to over 8,000 people in just over 3 years.
From the outside, it looks like you guys have saved a lot of lives doing this.
Well, I really hope so. Yeah. But as we say, if we touch one person and we can help one person, I believe that's perfect for us.
The care doesn't end in the valley. Through the U.S.-Mexico Health Commission, Rosales and her team were able to purchase 11 total mobile units to place in various cities across the country with a high concentration of Latinos and people in need of care. And doing all of this, oh, by the way, at zero cost to their community.
They ask about, do I have to pay for these services? And they find it interesting that it's free of charge. That our mission is to get people access to care.
Do you have any coffee today?
Early this morning.
Okay.
While the group specializes in care for the human body, it's their concentration of support for the individuals on a personal level that makes their job truly special.
Thank you. Absolutely. This was really helpful. Yeah, I never had that, so now I know.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now you know. I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so passionate about what I do and being able to be part of this program, because I've been on the other side. I know how it is not to be able to go to the doctor or have to wait.
Yeah, I gotta do better. I admit, I'm not. And I was an athlete all my life until I got older. I played football in college.
You did?
Professional football.
Nice.
And I know better.
And you guys have helped a lot of people through this too.
We have. I think we have. Yeah, and we do it with a lot of love and a lot of passion.
Whether the wheels serve as a simple checkup or a wake-up call, it's always good to have a friend.
Here you are.
Thank you, Doc.
Have a nice day.
I will.
As mentioned, Dr. Rosales says the 2 mobile units in Arizona have allowed over 8,000 patients to get medical care and counting. These clinics on wheels are funded via a grant. In the studio, Scotty Gange, Cronkite News.
Every 10 years, the U.S. Census Bureau asks U.S. residents to check the box or boxes that best identify their race and ethnicity. Ahead of the 2020 census, Cronkite News wants to know how you identify yourself, and your responses will help inform our reporting. Just go to our Cronkite News Twitter or Facebook feeds to get counted.
New tonight, an improvement in a type of eyeglasses developed at the University of Arizona is being used to help the visually impaired.
Cronkite News reporter Delaney White is joining us now to explain how.
This innovation to the new model of the glasses has improved not only the vision, but the quality of life for its users. Professor Hong Hua worked with the company eSight in order to improve the newest model of the product, eSight 3.
I have macular degeneration. I believe it's the leading cause of blindness in the world, actually. There is no cure. I have no central vision. So if I was to look at you without eSight, if I was looking at the computer, I wouldn't see your face at all.
Gary Foster is just one of 1.8 million Americans over the age of 40 who are suffering from macular degeneration, a condition which impairs central vision. But with new technology partially developed by University of Arizona professor Hong Hua, he is now able to see straight on.
I have always been interested in using technology that we develop in the lab to do something that can help people.
Professor Hong Hua and her student Jason Kuhn worked together to develop a high-resolution, high-performance eyepiece that goes into the eSight glasses. The eyepiece helps to project a high-quality image from a very small macro display, according to Hua. The image quality provided by this eyepiece is a new achievement. This innovation is helping eSight users see more clearly, especially when it comes to facial recognition.
When I finally got my turn, she stood in front of me and she said, "What do you see?" And I looked at her and I said, "I can see your face." And she started to cry. And I looked all around the room and I said, "I can see everybody's face."
For people with the low vision, typically they either cannot see small details or they cannot see low contrast information. So the eSight hardware is going to take the pictures and then they softly enhance the picture.
When asked about his vision while wearing the glasses, Gary said it is comparable to a high-definition television.
If you're watching a newscast on a high-resolution television with your normal vision, you're seeing vibrant colors, You're seeing everything, and it's just beautiful, right? It's almost like as if the person is right in front of you. I'm viewing my whole world the way you're viewing that television.
The cost of this product was once as high as $15,000 US, but has since dropped down to about $6,000, making it more affordable and accessible to members of the visually impaired community. In the studio, Delaney White, Cronkite News.
It doesn't have to be smokable.
Coming up next on Cronkite News at 5, how new regulations for hemp cultivation on tribal lands are affecting one Navajo man's business.
It's Halloween night. What are you wearing? And more importantly, do you need a jacket or a cape to go with that and keep warm? Up next.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
CBD products are everywhere right now, and the growing trend isn't only fashionable, it's also big business.
Cronkite News reporter Marcela Baedo spoke to one Navajo leader who has jumped at the opportunity, but some within his own tribe are saying not so fast.
It's important to clarify that hemp and marijuana are not the same. Even though they come from the same plant, marijuana is a recreational drug with a high THC percentage, while hemp is an agricultural crop and has less than 1% of THC. Industrial hemp is used in countless products ranging from fabrics to lotions to oils and even dog treats. And the hemp industry has grown dramatically. It's predicted that hemp-derived CBD products generated around $1.9 billion in 2018, and it's projected to grow to $20 billion by 2024 in the U.S., according to BDS Analytics, a company that keeps track of data on the hemp industry. Today, and for the first time, the United States Department of Agriculture is implementing interim regulations on hemp production for tribal lands and states. We went to Shiprock, New Mexico to see how this industry is already impacting the tribal community. In the heart of the Navajo Nation, not far from the Four Corners, millions of hemp plants are growing, many of them ready to be harvested. It's the first time this kind of plant is being grown on such a massive scale on the Navajo Nation. It's happening right now in Shiprock, New Mexico, all under the watchful eye of Dene Benally. He says hemp will help in providing the Navajo community with a natural alternative in health and wellness products.
Doing this project, I really got to know what our people are really made of. You know, what type of skill set, what kind of issues we're dealing with: alcoholism, methamphetamines, opiates abuse, and I've got to experience and seen through a lot of the workers we've had on our farms.
For Harlan Joe, who's dealt with substance abuse, he says he's found a second chance at life on the farm where he manages workers harvesting.
I used to be an alcoholic too. Used to be on the streets, drink around Shiprock, and when Dene told me to take over, changed my life, you know.
This hemp will eventually become the main ingredient in Navajo Gold, the CBD company Benally started in early October. Hemp plants like these are turned into lotions, oils, and even edible gummy bears.
It doesn't have to be smokable.
Navajo Gold employee Anthony Lee calls himself a plant health advocate and says the Navajo Nation is an ideal place for the production of this crop.
Making hemp accessible for this community has a lot of benefits. We have land and we have water. For instance, we only use about 20% of the farmlands located along the San Juan River.
According to Benally, there's about 300 plus acres here. That's about 6,000 to 8,000 plants that he hopes to turn into products for his wellness center. And those 6,000 to 8,000 plants are just per 1 acre of land, meaning that Benally and his farmers are growing anywhere from 1.8 million to 2.4 million plants on tribal land. But as these plants have grown, so have the legal questions, which is why the USDA is finally stepping in, implementing interim regulations on hemp being grown on tribal lands.
We have our teams operating with all hands on deck to develop a regulatory framework that meets congressional intent while seeking to provide a fair, consistent, and science-based process for states, tribes, and individual producers who want to participate in this program.
In order for the provisional rule to go into effect, USDA Undersecretary Greg Eibach says it must first be published in the Federal Register.
We have been told by the Federal Register that will happen on October 31st. It includes, as the Secretary acknowledged, a public comment period that will allow USDA to seek input on the rule as it is enacted.
These provisional regulations will impact farmers like Benally, who possibly may now have to reevaluate their planting and harvesting process in order to meet USDA requirements. Some of these include maintaining relevant producer and land information, accurate and effective sampling testing, implementing a plan for disposal and inspection procedures, submitting proper collection information, complying with enforcement procedures, and certification proving the state and/or tribe has the proper personnel and resources needed. Up until now, Benally and Navajo leadership have not seen eye to eye on all aspects of hemp harvesting on the nation. Navajo President Jonathan Nez says any company intending to produce hemp on tribal land not only will now have to follow the new USDA regulations, it also needs approval by the Navajo Nation.
In recent years, under the Farm Bill, the federal government delegated that to Indian tribes throughout the country. And Indian tribes, once they get the regulations, the policies develop, then they can, in turn, proceed in that type of endeavor.
Benally, however, says it's not up to the Navajo Nation to decide who can grow hemp and who can't.
We have a treaty of 1868, and that treaty identified and indicated. And when they provided properties to the Navajo person, it was to the Navajo Indian, the Native American Indian. It was not to the Navajo Nation. There was no Navajo Nation. That's where it's gotten so confusing over the years.
Benally says his company is providing job opportunities for nearly 100 employees in a community dealing with high unemployment. One of those is Delbert Etzity,
cutting off the leaves, just getting the buds,
who's been working with the company for 7 months.
We proved them wrong. We're actually standing here and doing this right here just because we believed in something that couldn't be done.
As a leader of the Navajo, for the farmers, I'm not going to be in a position where we're going to start arguing with each other. We have to work together. That's all I realized, to get this going and take it to the next level.
Benally says his company will have no trouble meeting and even exceeding all the new regulations. USDA officials say they will use this upcoming 2020 planting season as a way to test drive the new interim rules. They're aiming to have permanent regulations in place within 2 years. In the studio, Marcel Bayeto, Cronkite News.
And now, I don't really know what's going on today. I've seen some pretty interesting outfits, but if I want to go for a walk later, what can I expect?
You know, you two better get ready to trick or treat yourself because it is Halloween and everyone will be out tonight. But let's take a look at what you get to wear tonight based on the weather. It has been a rather cool morning. In fact, it has been the coolest morning on record since 1975 in the valley. You can see temperatures are low up in Page, 46 degrees. Yuma, 72, although that's a little bit warm. That's a lot cooler than what they're used to over there. And like I said, it is Halloween night. There are some great events going on tonight. If you're taking the little kiddos out at 5 p.m., it'll be 73 degrees. And then it'll decrease a bit up to 9 p.m., 59 degrees. So if you're going out, be sure to bring a cape or something fuzzy to keep warm. And also that goes with your costume. Like I said, it's been the coolest morning. Tomorrow morning is also going to be cool, though not quite as cold as this morning. Up in Page, 32 degrees Flagstaff 19 degrees. That is well below freezing. There are some great events going on as well for Halloween. Of course, tomorrow night, First Friday at Roosevelt Row, catch some great musicians. Arizona Fall Fest with everything fall, and one more Dia de los Muertos celebration in Phoenix. Now, looking ahead into the weekend, if you have plans to spend time out, 85 degrees on Saturday. It'll be quite nice, a little bit cloudy. Going into the rest of the week, still the mid-80s, the lows in the mid-50s. I'm keeping it real in the Cronkite News Weather Center. Annika Abbott.
An Arizona boy is going viral tonight for a call he made to 911.
When we come back, how the Golden Arches emergency is making a lot of people happy.
On the next Arizona Horizon, the U.S. House of Representatives holds its first vote to formalize its impeachment inquiry of President Trump. And we'll hear about the complex history of Halloween. It's on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, winds pick up, fueling already dangerous fires and fears in California. Coming up after Cronkite News and Arizona Horizon on Arizona PBS.
One of the top trending stories online today, a 5-year-old boy in Mesa called 911 on Sunday. The reason? He wanted a Happy Meal.
Police say the boy made the call on his father's phone, thinking he was on the line with McDonald's. The dispatcher asked if there was an emergency before sending an offer for a welfare check, adding the officer might stop for the fast food chain for a Happy Meal.
So he did, and he showed up to little Charlie's house with a special delivery, but also took some time to teach him about the proper use of 911. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.